All right, welcome back to Red Hot Chili. This is your host, Dr. John Cogan. Glad you've joined us, and you should be jealous if you're looking at YouTube today because I'm here in the early fall of the southern hemisphere in Chile, and look what I get to look at. Isn't that something else? Now, if you're listening on the radio, you can't see it, but you can imagine looking over a vast stretch of blue ocean with some waves, small waves breaking in the background, and a lovely beach down below in this sector of Viña del Mar, known as Reñaca. We're actually battery powered today, traveling outside and doing the show outside of the studio. So there's a little bit of background noise from traffic and so forth, but not too much. It's a great place to live. I think that if you are not familiar with Chile's geography, you should get your map out and take a look exactly where Viña del Mar is. We're just to the west-northwest of Santiago, about an hour and a half drive, and really quite different than living in the big city. That's not to say that Viña and its metro area is not big. We're still almost a million people here on the coast, but it's got a very different environment. The air is clean, and you have the ocean view. It feels a little more open when you're living right along the coast. Has a real different touch to it, as far as lifestyle goes. Well, I wanted to talk about the earthquake a little bit more today and things that have been happening since then up in the north. We get lots of calls, and a lot of people that are concerned about what happened with the big temblor or terremoto up there in the north, the earthquake. Before I do that, though, because I want to make sure I get to it and talk about the earthquake, I want to handle the simple trivia that we normally do, is the slang words, and also get to the listener questions that I was not able to get to last week. I said I was going to do it and just ran out of time. So the slang words, your slang words for the week. Here's the first one. Estoy chato. Chato. How do I pronounce that? Chato, ¿no es cierto? Yeah, I'm looking at my wife. She's out here enjoying the view with us. Estoy chato. Also, estoy cansado means I'm tired. That's all it means, chato. ¿A dónde la viste? ¿A dónde la viste? There's a word for you. No way. I don't believe you. No te creo. It's an expression used to demonstrate that we don't believe anything that you're saying. ¿A dónde la viste? No lo creo. No te creo. No way. And finally, we have toyero or toyera. That's a mentiroso or mentirosa, a liar. Lots of liars here in Chile, isn't that right? Hay muchos mentirosos aquí en Chile, ¿no es cierto? My wife's saying, yeah, absolutely. So you gotta be careful with that. Joe's been finding that out a little bit, but not enough yet. He's going to find out after he's been here a couple months how bad they lie. You should know that I pull no punches. I'm a big fan of Chile. I love this country, but I'm not about to tell you that everything's always rosy and wonderful here. There are problems in this country, and especially for those of us who come from countries north of the Tropic of Capricorn, or excuse me, Cancer. Getting used to a culture which is based on mistrust and lying can be quite difficult. Well, anyway, there's your slang words for the week. Wanted to get that out of the way right away so we can move on to some other things later on. Now, as I close this window, the sun out here is just so difficult, it's hard to see my mouse. So if you're looking at me on YouTube, you gotta understand I'm really struggling here with this, with finding my mouse pointer to be able to do the click here and find out where we are. All right, now getting back to the listener comments. Well, I got Jeff writing in, and he wrote in last, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago, and it was a good enough comment. He's written a couple times. I thought I'd bring him up on the radio show. He says, Dr. John, briefly came across your show as a result of my research. Thank you for not blowing smoke up everyone's, and I'll say butt for lack of a better word, and being straightforward. It's commendable. We are like-minded. As mentioned, I've been researching for some time now. Need to put my boots on the ground as I'm confident Chile will suit me. I have value to offer to the community. I think he's speaking about our sustainable community, and I will be in touch. Much more to say, but at a later date. Okay, Jeff, well, a later date came sooner than you might imagine because he did write again, and if I can find a way for my mouse pointer to go to the next message here, I will tell you what he said that I've saved here in my listener comments folder. He says, Dr. John, briefly came across your show as, this is the same thing. Well, you know what? I'm not going to struggle with this too much more here. I'll just say that, Jeff, you're going to love Chile. It's a great place to live. It's got problems, but we are looking for talented people down the road to work in Freedom Orchard. But first things first, remember, Freedom Orchard has been paralyzed for lack of capital for a while. We are working to resolve that, and every day seems more more and more optimistic for us, so that by the time hopefully by the time the northern summer is rolling around, we will be up and going here, and that's my hope. Remember, I'm a very staunch libertarian. I'm a pro-life libertarian. I'm an evangelical. I'm not ashamed to say all of those things at once. I'm a very strange person in that sense. They call me a bicho raro in Spanish here in Chile, which means an odd bug because of the mixture of things that I am. But having said that, I want to make clear that I am convinced that a libertarian community is essential for the future of not only libertarianism, because you're about to be going down in flames in the U.S. as Rome starts to burn, but also because in Chile we have a chance to actually make a last stand, as one client of mine recently called it, an Alamo of sorts. Come down here, get your boots on the ground, as Simon Black likes to say it, and live here and get involved with politics, get involved with investing in new businesses, and make an impact with your attitudes, your ethics, your free market agendas, your way of going about things, and make a change in this country. Chile is open to immigrants, it's open to new people and new ideas, and you should take advantage of that if you're from the Northern Hemisphere. So come down to Chile, join us, and in Freedom Orchard, which you can find at freedomorchard.com, keep tabs with us, because we'll be needing more and more people to help us take that off the ground and to make a truly libertarian community. Now, when I say a truly libertarian community, there's not going to be a questionnaire. People have asked in the press, because I get lots of interviews down in the Curricó papers and national press. Was this kind of a sect? Are you operating something religious? I say no. There's no religious test. Oh, it's some kind of weird philosophical sect, libertarian-wise. I said, no, there's nobody who's going to ask you, are you really a libertarian, before you go there. But we are advertising specifically to libertarians, and therefore we expect that a great number, if not a large, most of the people that come there will be libertarians and be like-minded people from that general sense of things. All right, we also have another letter from David, but I'm going to talk about David's comment, I think, when we come back from the break, because it's not going to do much justice. It's a long letter, so I'm going to read this when we get back from the break. I will say this in the closing minutes here. 85% of businessmen who have been surveyed recently are upset with the new idea of eliminating the ability to reinvest profits without any tax, saying that it's going to reduce savings and investment. Well, fancy that. Can you imagine that? Before, you didn't get taxed, and you can invest your money and not pay tax on it, so keep expanding business, expand jobs. The stupid socialist government, the first thing they're doing is trying to eliminate that. And the businessmen are rightly saying that these are the real effects of what's going to happen. Less savings, less expansion, and obviously more unemployment and other problems. Well, no news to libertarians and people who know something about economics, but it's certainly news to ignorant people and rent seekers and power brokers like we currently have. You're listening to Red Hot Chili on the Overseas Radio Network, and we'll be right back.